this post-screening Q&A we prepared for you using Zoom. We hope you enjoyed the film. My name is Gloria Morano, and I'm part of the programming team of the Luxembourg City Film Festival. Today, we are joined by Fradik, who directed Air Conditioner, which is in our official competition. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
My first question is, I read you talk about your film, talking about magical realism. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Well, besides being a great fan of the genre, I think not a lot of people know that Angolan literature has a lot of magic realism, just like South American literature. So it's something that was always very present in terms of me growing up and reading books like from Pepe Tela, Onjaki, or even Agolusa, which are Angolan writers. I think the magic realism that comes from our literature, and now that in some sort of way we're trying to bring to our cinema, it's something that help us deal with a lot of issues and pain and things that we struggle, and help us kind of understand better with I'm not saying it makes it soft to the issues, but I think it can be more easy for people to read or people to see it, because a lot of things that happen here in Luanda or in Angola in our culture, sometimes they look completely fiction, you know. And I think literature, cinema, and the arts kind of like are trying to interpret that, and when they do it, it looks like magic realism. But when we see in our film, it's like the characters are based on real people, the locations are real. Air conditioners are not falling, but I've seen other stuff falling from buildings in Luanda, so it's not completely off. You know, it has a lot of reality as well.
And I think I had the impression your film as something really documentary, a really documentary touch. And talking about workers, I think there's something really political maybe in your film. What do you think about this?
Although I always wanted to make fiction after I got off from film school, all my first jobs were documentaries, especially one about our liberation struggle. So for almost 6 years, I was traveling around Angola with my other people from my crew at Geração 80, and we recorded a lot of interviews dealing with the liberation struggle. At the same time, I had the chance to go through many archives, not only here, but in Europe. So the documentary genre is also something that I really love, and it's very present. And I think it's something very important as well in terms of our cinema. So the way we approach also this film was something that we wanted to go into to the location, but respect the location as it is, and also have actors that were not only trained actors but also real people. So in the film, we have real people that live in the building. That was a very important building for us because they welcome us during that 12-day shoot that we were there. And so the documentary feel to it, I think it comes from the process not only of making the film, but also the process that we wanted to give the audience the feel of being on a real location, being downtown Luanda and in the daily life of Mata Cedo.
And I was really touched by the memory aspect. For example, with the VHS and analogical images you use, especially at the end, I have the impression they're very poetical images, but very violent too. We can see something very violent. Why did you choose to use this kind of images this way?
Well, here there's two things. Like I'm very in love about memories, and everything that has to do with memories is a subject that I'm really always trying to search in my own work. And also I love the physicality of making films. You know, I don't like to just use a special effect on post-production. I actually like to create something and have the art director create something, the composer create something, and physically see it. So I wanted to bring that to the film in terms of the character, which is Mr. Mino, but also I wanted to have the chance of, you know, what our memories would look like, you know, a little bit going like Michel Gondry tries to do with his own films. I think it's something that nowadays a lot of filmmakers, with all special effects and post production and the digital, they kind of forget how physical and how analogic film can be. And I think it's always a good chance to go back to that. And the other thing is our collective, besides making films, it does a lot of other stuff in terms of video and video art. And throughout these 8 years, we've been recording kind of like no comments from area news of daily life in Angola, not only in Luanda, but outside. And we had a lot of like 1 minute, 2 minute pieces of nobody comments, just the camera looking at it. And in some sort of way, we've been recording like small memories of daily life. So I was like, we have the footage. That's what we have to see in Mr. Mino's machine, you know. So the footage that you actually see it is something that we've been recording the last 6-8 years. It's not something where we recorded specifically for the film.
And which are your other cinema references? Because you talk about Michel Gondry, and I have the impression there's something linked to the avant-garde American independent cinema with the black and white images in the streets. What's your inspirations?
Well, it's funny because I went to the U.S. to study film, but once I got there, I actually discovered more like Russian cinema, more Asian cinema, and even more South American cinema that I really like. So it took me to go away from Angola and arrive in the U.S. to discover like Tarkovsky, to discover like Pablo Larraín, like all these filmmakers that I really love how they actually go through the film without being afraid of, you know, about the length of the film, but being worried about conveying like real emotions, real characters, not being too worried about the narrative structure of it. So those are kind of few of my many inspirations. But also I have a very good inspiration in this continent, which is a good friend of mine, who is Jeremiah Mosese. He did a film last year that came out and one in Sundance, which is, it's not a bureau, it's a resurrection. And it's a very beautiful film. It's something that I really believe it's like what the future of African cinema should look like. And so I'm constantly not only stuck in the past with filmmakers. I don't like to be stuck with, you know, old filmmakers that have died, but also I'm trying to find new things. And but I always feel more linked to Asian cinema, South American cinema, East European cinema. So it's something that I think it has to do with the timing and the pacing of the films itself, I think.
And I have the impression Geração 80, it's kind of avant-garde cinema for Angola, maybe for Africa. How do you manage it? How do you lead this?
It's I think the cinema we're trying to make is something we're still in the process of discovering. But one thing we know for sure is that we don't want to make films that are just completely copies of, you know, action films or copies of Western films. We actually have a lot of stories that we want to tell, and I'm okay to say that I feel more relation and relatable to, you know, a Wong Kar-wai film than specifically with, you know, a Steven Spielberg film. I'm okay with that. And I think these last 20 years we've been looking too much to the West, and sometimes it's good to find other filmmakers, because the West has a lot of, like, in our theaters right now, it's like you go to the movies, you know, 90% of the films are American. We actually don't see a lot of African films here, or Italian films or French films here. So I'm always trying to, and as a collective, we're always trying to get off the mainstream and try to find other filmmakers. The way we kind of survived is that we decided to make films, but at the same time we don't have film funds here, but we have a more commercial side where we do documentaries, where we do also ads and more like TV stuff. And that's what paid the bills and help us to, you know, put our projects together as a collective when we come to the world of cinema, you know.
And another question about your film, the telepathy aspect, which is really troubling at the beginning. Maybe it was really troubling for a foreign audience because we read the subtitles, we don't understand at the beginning. Was it an anticipated risk?
It was, but when I wrote the script with Derek Klaver, which is the director of photography, and also wrote the script with me, he has done that before in one of his films. So the idea came, let's do this because the back part of the buildings here with all the generators and water pumps working is very loud. When people are up in that back part and everything is working, people have to be shouting at each other. So we said, well, if we have Matacedo who has already a hearing problem, let's just not have people talk. They can communicate like nobody else can because they are the workers. They work in the back part of the building, so they know or they think they know whatever each other are saying. So when we actually recorded, it was something that we already had in mind, and we made sure the actors didn't talk and was very weird for them because they're, are you sure you don't want me to say the line? I was like, do not say the line. Just look at it, think about it, and just act without talking. So it was something that we really wanted to do from the first moment. And yes, we have been having some problems when we send the movie to festivals. They're like, there's no people talking here. Is that a problem? I'm like, no, there's no problem.
And my last question is about your new projects. I think you're preparing a new feature film.
Yes, I've been actually air conditioning happened while I was preparing that project, and I'm still doing because it's a very ambitious project. It happens in the 80s in Angola. It's called The Kingdom of Casuarinas. It's based on an Angolan novel. It has to do with memory as well. It has to do with a lot of pain because we had a very big moment in 1977 here with that coup attempt. And a lot of people were in prison. A lot of people disappear. So our main characters live in that world in that generation, and it's kind of a passion project. I don't know. I've learned my lesson. I don't want to know. I don't want to say it's my next one. But it's a project I'm definitely going to do it, and I've been trying to develop that project almost now for 5 years now. So it's an air conditioner happening in the middle. So that's a lesson that I learned.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your participation. We
Thank
hope
you,
to
Gloria.
see you in Europe for your next project. Thank you.
Yes, I hope to.